senior day for Marshall, last game in this building. He's had a lot of good moments in this building, and you know, after the game Tuesday, we had a pretty frank discussion in the locker room, and you know, I challenged him that when you become a senior, we only have one senior, and that's shown in a number of different ways throughout the course of the season. But when you become a senior, you're going to want everybody else on that team to give all they can give to make sure that you leave that court a winner, especially a guy like Marshall, who's obviously had a great impact on our program. Very similar to last year. We were coming off a humbling loss, and we had three seniors that were pivotal players in the history of our program. And you know, we challenged everybody, not only those three guys, but everybody, to make sure that they gave the proper effort so that those three guys could leave with their heads up. And my hope is that that's the response that we'll get from everybody, including Marshall, tomorrow.
Andy, every team goes through tough stretches. I mean, a couple of years ago, y'all lost like 5 straight or whatever it is. But what's the difference between previous teams you've had and this team not being able to really recover from the really bad stretches? It seems like this one's just lasted for so long, having lost 8 of your last 11. What's been the difference with this team compared to other ones?
You know, some of it is we haven't been very good on the road, and it's kind of odd. You know, we lost our opener in SEC play to Mississippi State. Pretty close game. Marshall wasn't on that trip, and then we responded with 2 big road wins, and so we didn't know that we were going to struggle this much on the road. We had some challenging non-league games. We'd won at Coastal and at Western, lost a close game to Kansas State. So we just haven't been very good away from home, and then that coupled with, you know, losing to Kentucky and Florida, and the Florida game was fairly competitive here. It's just been a rough stretch for us, and this team, I think, pretty early on, at least from my perspective, when we got into mid-December, I could see that our margin for error was very small in a number of different areas, and that has exposed us during this stretch, and we just haven't been able to get over the hump.
Some of the shooting percentages in these last 6 or 7 games, I guess you guys have been right in the 30s every game. I mean, is that good defense? Is that shot selection? Just what's kind of?
It's a combination of a little bit of everything. We're a team that, again, based on the identity and the makeup of the group, we're pretty dependent upon our guards making shots. You know, Marshall's always been a volume guy. His numbers are probably pretty similar to what they were last year. We just had guys last year that off those misses could go clean them up. When your front court is shooting less than 41% from the field in league play, it puts you very dependent upon making tough shots. Well, we're playing other teams that know that as well, so they're putting a lot of pressure on us on the perimeter. And guys have got to respond in kind. We've always looked for that third, fourth option, and that's continued to be the case as we approach senior day.
I know it's not the finish Marshall would want to have to his senior year, but I mean, he hasn't had any of the off-court stuff. You know, you haven't really heard anything from Marshall like you did last year. And do you think that'll go a long way in how he's remembered years down the line in his Ole Miss career?
Well, I think when you look back at the numbers, you know, I've always said this, that at the end of the day, you are what the numbers say you are. And when you look at his numbers, they're pretty mind-boggling, and the fact that he broke an NCAA record. We're not talking about an Ole Miss record or an SEC record. He shot more three-pointers than anybody in the history of college basketball. How long that'll stand, who knows? But it's a pretty impressive mark for a guy. And we played a number of games last year. I guess we were 27-9. That's 36 games. That's a lot of games for a lot of shots, so that may stand a while. Made more threes than anybody in the history of the SEC last year, and that was a record that had been around for over a decade. The consecutive three-pointers made this year that he just broke, I guess, against Alabama in our last home game. He's done some pretty incredible things with his ability to make shots. He was the SEC tournament MVP. We won an SEC championship. I told him, you know, as long as he can keep this thing in the road the next few weeks, that one day at the SEC tournament he'll be remembered as an SEC legend. He's done that. He's done a lot of great things for our program. I know that he's frustrated with his own play. He's frustrated with our team's inability to take that next step. We've been awfully close, and we thought we were close to getting there, and then we take a huge step back. So for him, my hope is that he can go out and play well tomorrow. We can try to get to 9-9 in the league to put ourselves in position to make another run in Atlanta.